What's up guys, welcome back. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing the Palit RTX 3090 Gaming Pro. This is just going to be a quick unboxing and checking the graphics card because I've not seen any other videos of anyone actually doing this just yet. And this card is actually a pretty good model, but it's one of the more lesser known brands. So first of all, I'm going to give a shout out to Amazon because Amazon was literally the only place that I could actually secure one of these. I did a pre-order in a different UK distributor for the RTX 3080, but I had to cancel that because that was predicted for next year. So I managed to go on Amazon and secure an order for a 3090 just this month, only about 2 weeks ago, and I actually managed to pick it up far later than the actual release date. So I'm going to open the tape box. I have partially opened this just to check that everything's still there, but the box has barely been touched. It's just been resealed, just basically to put to the side. Now I am going to do a PC build video of actually putting this together and making a brand new build with it, but that's probably going to be in 1 or 2 months because I do need to get the other parts actually ready to make that build. But this is going to be an absolute beast of a PC once I put it together. Now a lot of people found it really hard to get their hands on these cards recently, and that's because there's just been so much demand in comparison to the actual units that they have in stock. So it was super hard to get this in. I actually had to have 2 pre-orders, one on the 3090 and one on the 3080, which I've now recently cancelled because I'd have to wait till 2021 to actually receive that. So we've gone ahead, and unfortunately, and also kind of fortunately because I'm pretty excited to actually get this in a computer, we've had to invest in the 3090, which is the slightly more costly variant. This RRP is around 1,500. You can get them for lowest, I think, 1,300 and upwards. This card was, I think, 1,600, so this was very expensive. So we're just going to take some of the sealing off, and you may notice I'm in a completely different room right now. This is not my room, this is just the most open room and best one for recording. So as you can see, the lighting's not perfect, but this is the Palit RTX Gaming Pro 3090. So I'm just going to have a look at the box and show you what everything looks like, because like I said, there was no videos of this model when I ordered it and nobody's showing it off. Unfortunately, I don't have my lighting set up in my room right here, so everything is not great, but this should give you just a preview of what everything looks like. So, of course, the 3090 has 24GB of RAM. It's using the new Ampere technology, which is what the chip is. Basically, the technology for the new chip. It has ray tracing, hence why it's called RTX, and the new DLSS, which is very similar to how the classic anti-aliasing works, but basically a feature that's a more enhanced version that gives a similar effect. And it obviously has the standard NVIDIA logo, RTX 3090 packaging. Now I think this isn't one of the prettiest cards, but it still looks pretty cool. The box art's really nice, it's a really nice box. There isn't really much wearing on the box, luckily it didn't have any damage, there's a few creases. But basically, Palit is one of the lesser known brands. So if you're trying to get your hands on an RTX 3090, what I would recommend is check out Amazon because they seem to have pretty healthy stock. They don't have regular stock, but in comparison to all the other retailers, I found that Amazon has some of the more routine stock. So they're getting some of the good amount of the stock coming into the UK. Palit and Zotac. Palit is a Taiwanese company, I believe, and I think Zotac is from Hong Kong or Thailand or some other country in Asia. They're some of the more lesser known, less popular card manufacturers, but they have a lot more stock because most people are trying to sweep up brands like EVGA, and also Gigabyte and Asus especially is probably the highest ordered and pre-ordered brand. So I'd recommend picking up one of these because it's a more lesser known brand, but if you're really trying to get your hands on a 3080, which is going to be even harder, or a 3090, then these two brands are probably the best bet, and Amazon's probably the best retailer, unless you're waiting for drops and more stock to come in on Scan or other websites like that. This is what the box looks like. The RTX 3090 is colossally powerful in every way. giving a whole new tier of performance. It's powered by the Ampere technology architecture, which doubles down on ray tracing and AI performance with enhanced RT cores, tensor cores and new streaming multiprocessors. So obviously this is the specification on the back. I'm going to show you obviously the English. If you look at the other languages, you can translate it in Google Translate. Basically, it just shows all the different languages, but it just has the same information. So it has complete DirectX support, which is including DirectX 12 and anything lower, full OpenGL 4.6 and lower support. So these are basically the rendering engines that the card uses to run 3D software and games. Key features is the 2nd gen ray tracing cores, 3rd gen tensor cores, it's a PCI Express Gen 4 using DirectX 12 Ultimate, and it's a GDDR6X graphics memory card. So the GDDR6 is the type of graphics memory, so just like you would have with normal RAM memory as DDR4 etc, that's basically what it is. And then it has DLSS, it utilizes GeForce Experience to update your drivers to the latest NVIDIA drivers, and it uses NVIDIA G-Sync. This is an SLI ready card, something which they're dropping support for on a lot of the more recent cards. Obviously this is using an SLI bridge to run multiple cards together. I know that Linus Tech Tips made a really good video on running multiple 3090s, so I would recommend checking out that video if that's something you're interested in. So you can get game ready drivers on the GeForce Experience, and it shows what ports it has. So it has DisplayPort, HDMI port, it's VR ready, so this is a great card for anyone using virtual reality. Unfortunately I don't have a VR kit or a VR headset, but this would be a really strong card for that. And it says Vulkan RT API OpenGL. That is the back of the box, and now we shall open the box. On the side, which I've already slided open the first time I checked it, so I'm going to show you inside the box of the Palit GamingPro. I'm mainly making this video not just to show the specifications or to brag about the card. This is mainly for people like me who are waiting for this card and want to see what it looks like, what they get inside the box, the manuals and basically what's inside. Fortunately, Palit has a pretty good channel on YouTube which give good information about their products, but there's not that many people who have actually got this card, and definitely not a lot of people who make content on YouTube who had it, so there was no actual reviews or any information regarding the GamingPro. This is not the OC type, so this is not the overclock variant, but they basically look exactly the same and they're pretty similar. So this is the box inside. We have a nice polystyrene type material here, and then inside you obviously have the user manual. So we can go through this obviously to set everything up. This basically shows the product certification, the Palit website where you can download the official driver. Now obviously all card companies have the drivers to download on the official website, but this is really not needed because most of the time you want to use GeForce Experience to install that anyway. And also the ThunderMaster utility is other software we can use too. So ThunderMaster utility allows you to monitor and manage the Palit graphics card. It also is the OC tool if you want to overclock it and monitor the clock speed of your graphics card, and it's used for a lot of customization and to look over the temperature and a lot of other aspects of the card. So this is other software you can use. I believe that you can change the RGB lighting on this card and change what the colours look like, but I haven't 100% gone through this manual, so I wouldn't quote me on that. But this guide just goes over how to use the ThunderMaster software, what it's for and what it supports, and where to download it. And this manual is basically in multiple languages again, but it mainly just tells you where to download the drivers and about the ThunderMaster utility to customize it. So that's basically the top layer of the graphics card box. So let's go into the underlayer. This is all I'm going to show you at the end of the video, is just the look of the graphics card inside, which is here. So inside we obviously get the wires to set up the graphics card. Now these are not individual wires, bear in mind. This is one wire which is split into two pieces. I have seen in a lot of photographs, I don't claim to be a PC expert. Most of my research when I build PCs, I go on websites online like PC Parts Picker to check for compatibility, and I obviously do my research. But the wire it's included is split into two halves, which you can obviously use, so they put two of these into the graphics card slot to plug it into their power supply. So I'm not sure what's the optimal way of setting up this graphics card, but obviously I will be doing a brand new PC build in 1 or 2 months, and I'll probably do a video of that build, so you can definitely subscribe and check back of me hooking it up then. But I think that's basically all we'll need. And this is what the actual core graphics card looks like itself. So this is in obviously static proof plastic, in a static proof wrapper. This is obviously so smooth brains like me don't actually break this when we take it out of the box, but this is what the card looks like. So obviously I'm holding one hand on the camera, which is really not optimal. I probably should have used a tripod for this video. But this is what it looks like. So the RTX 3090 has 3 fans on it, okay? So it's an absolute beast. And this thing's huge, okay? This is probably at least, I'm not sure the exact measurement, but this is probably around 370 millimeters long, I believe. There are some cards which are listed as 390 millimeters, but there's also cards listed at around 370. So this is a pretty big card regardless. So it's 300 odd millimeters long. So if you're going to get a case, you're going to have to get a very long case to fit this in. A very big case, but most big cases, mid towers and full towers, will support big cards like this, as long as you've got a fairly decent sized one. And then on the back we have the GeForce logo on the side. So here is some useful information which it says on the seal that you'll need to be aware of. Attention, before powering on your PC, please make sure you properly connect all of the PCI Express connectors with a power supply unit using the GPU PCI Express power cables. Board may have 2 or 3 8-pin connectors. So this is exactly what I told you before, okay? So we have one cable here, okay? So we basically have to pay attention to this diagram and make sure that you set up the right connectors to your board. And it depends on 2 or 3 8-pin connectors, so that's something you really need to be careful of when setting it up. And if obviously you're a simpleton like me, who's only built one PC before, then this is something you're going to have to pay attention to. Please wait for the graphics card to cool if you want to remove it from your PC system. This is just basically safety stuff, okay? This is an electrostatic packaging, so obviously sensitive devices don't get damaged when they get handled. This is just like when you build a PC, you have to ground yourself so you don't obviously overload anything. So this is obviously the side of the card with the meshing here, you can kind of see inside. And this is what the bottom of the board looks like with some of the side profile in here. These are your 2 connector slots, which I showed you, okay? And like we showed on the diagram before, it depends how you set up your card based on the pin connectors, but that's where the cables will slot into. Then we have the GeForce RTX logo on the side, which looks very nice. And on the bottom you have the PCIe connector, where we will slot into the motherboard on the back side of your PC case. Now, one thing that's important, which I haven't showed you in the case, I've given you kind of like an overview of the card through the packaging, but one thing I didn't show you, okay, is I didn't actually show you the support mount which comes in it, which is very important. So not only do you get that card and the connector cables, you also get a support mount. So we get this GeForce RTX support mount in the package as well, which I believe is glass. You can see this is glass and you can see the logo through here. And basically you have to install this. This is what's called a sag holder, and it basically supports the RTX board to prevent sagging because it's a very heavy and a very long card. Okay, so there's an installation guide on the official product page which we're going to refer to, and I'm going to have to look at that when I build my new computer. This is basically a 1 thick block of glass, and it's curved at the end. I'm not sure if you can see that through the bag, but it actually goes down from here and it grooves down and kind of curves. And inside we have the back piece with some holes in, and it comes with some screws in a little package inside. You probably can't see that all so well, but basically that's going to be a sag mount because the card weighs so much. It's not just big, but it just weighs a lot. What kind of video would it be if I didn't show you the actual card itself? So this is the Palit GamingPro 3090. So this is the back. You can see we have this really nice mesh grating and these openings, which is for airflow. And then over here, if we spin it around, this is a really nice shape and quality product. The actual plating and metal on this is really nice. And it has the nice RTX logo over there. And then if we flip it, this is what it looks like on the side profile, because a lot of people are going to want to look at this because they want to see what it looks like when they side mount it. So if I just show you a top-down view, if you side mount this card, which most people will be doing, you can see the logo here, GeForce RTX, which looks really nice, and then obviously the power connectors here, and more of the opening for the airflow. Now, this is the back of the card. Now let's look at the side. So this is obviously all of your connectors. So over here, this is the side profile of your card when you hook it up into your motherboard, what you'll see outside the back side of your PC. So obviously we have all the connectors here for all of our different slots we're going to connect things to, such as our monitor. So obviously we have the HDMI port over here, and then we have display ports as well on the cards. So it supports DisplayPort and HDMI ports, which are more modernistic device outputs. Let's flip this card around to the top, because this is what most people are going to want to look at. This is what the top of the card looks like. We can see 3 of the fans over here, which look really awesome. And then obviously the GamingPro logo in the center. This looks like a pretty nice card. As you can see, we have all the meshes over here, the Palit logo, which turns with a fan, which looks super awesome. That'll look really nice when the card's lit up by the case and everything's spinning. It's quite an attractive card. Some people think this card's ugly, obviously people who are into tons of RGB lights, fancy strips, and strange plastic things to decorate the card. A lot of people will pay extra money to have really pretty cards for their cases, which is completely fine. I'm just investing in this for the power, and it just looks nice like a basic card. Nothing special. Obviously the Founders Edition cards look better, but this looks nice. The plastic and metal used is pretty high quality, and the card looks pretty visually pleasing to me. So this is the Palit GamingPro 3090 card. If you have any questions in the comments below, let me know. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, because I'll be setting this up into a brand new PC build soon, because I'm going to be building a 3090 rig. I'll be trying out some top games on it, and also for a meme, we'll be running Minecraft in RTX mode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.